Hello everyone, I hope that all of you are doing well. Today it's time for another shave, and I decided to compare two razors from RazoRock. They're quite different, but they fall into the same chart of aggressiveness or efficiency that RazoRock provides. And here I have in my right hand the RazoRock Gold, and here on the left I have the Lupo 0.72. Two popular, especially the Lupo, very popular RazoRock razor. The Gold, I assume, is getting quite popular as well. It made quite a little bit of buzz when it was released. And surprisingly, they're in the same category of efficiency. I thought that before owning the Gold, this one will be milder, but actually it's in the same category of the Lupo 72, as well in the same category of my game changer. But I decided to compare these two because they're quite different, and I kind of like know what to expect. But as you can see, when it comes to the design, if you're shopping for a razor within the same kind of like efficiency level and you look for different options, this may help you decide based on the shave that I'm gonna have today. You can see the design of the head of the Gold, as it is inspired from the Merkur 34C. It's more rounded on the top cap, classical, more kind of like bigger head, and compared to the Lupo, a little bit more compact, thinner head, and seems that the top cap, as well as you can see, I'm just trying to focus it here on the side, is a little bit more kind of like direct, with less surface helping you to find the angle. When it comes to the base plate, we can see immediately that the Lupo is having that narrowing down, very distinct feature of the Lupo, which I really like when it comes to the detailing of my goatee, or if you have some other facial hair that you want to detail. That's really, really cool design and a feature for me that I always like to highlight it. And here, as you can see, just a classic, once again, top cap aligned with a base plate. Both are with scalloped base plates over here, as you can see. Finally, the camera focused nicely. And yeah, it's time to shave. But before that, we need to load them. For the blades, I decided to use the Persona Comfort Coated. Lately, I tried them in both of my RazoRock razors, and I don't recall using them before, or maybe I didn't pay much attention, but for some reason this blade felt really good in both of these razors, so I'm gonna use it. First, we're gonna take a look at the Lupo, and we're gonna load the blade. We obviously have the top cap and the base plate over here, the signature peel design for the pins that help to align with the blade, and you can see that there is no kind of like cut through the base plate. It's nice and modern in terms of design. As you can see, the cutout for the slot. The blade, nicely aligned. 3-piece, of course. Over here. You can see that perfect alignment with the base plate that makes this razor quite unique. I don't know of many other razors that they have that perfect alignment with the width of the cutting edge of the double edge blade here. And the Goat, as you can see, I use same handles. I want to reduce the amount of variation, so the weight of both razors will be quite close, or as close as possible. Here is the top cap of the Goat, more classic design. The 3 holes are clearly visible on the base plate, and we have the rounded side pins on the side for aligning and securing the blade. Here is the blade sitting in the top cap, nicely secured. 3-piece razor, no overhang on both razors. And here you can see the blade alignment. On the sides, the base plate and the top cap stick out a little bit further away from the blade edge. That's another kind of like classic design that we're all used to. And here we have the two razors loaded, and you can see the blade. Try to focus on the top cap. And for the soap, I'm gonna use Areffa soap, summertime. Very, very nice, pleasant smell, perfect for the summer. Nice, fresh, with light sweetness. This one is bear tallow, one of the very interesting bases in my collection. I love this soap and performs very well. And here I have the AP Shave Co with Mueller STF plant-based knot. Okay, on the left I'm gonna use the Lupo 72, and over here I'm gonna use the goat. This is the regular plate goat. And before we start, I forgot to mention the price difference. The RazoRock Gold, I believe it might be the most expensive razor that they offer currently at the time of the recording. This one is, when I purchased it, I think it was about 93 US dollars. And this, the Lupo, I believe is around 70 US dollars. I'll double check and adjust the pricing on the corner of the videos so you know what's the price difference between these two. But the gold is the more expensive one. And both razors, you can choose variety of handles that RazoRock provides, as I believe some of you already know. Time to start with the Lupo. Going over 2.5 days of growth. Some of you asked me how I found it in the long run after my initial review. It took me a while to get the kind of like quirks of this razor, because I found it at the time that I purchased it quite unique, and I didn't use many razors that match this head profile, I guess. But after quite a few shaves, I started getting really good results with it. And what I love, as I mentioned before, probably more than once, is that blade being perfectly aligned here with the base plate. So when I do my detailing, I know exactly where the cutting starts with the razor. And that's one of the main reasons why I really like the Lupo. Time for the right side with the RazoRock Gold. Immediately, I can feel that big top cap, the more of the rounding design here, that There is more surface touching the skin, and also that brings a little bit more comfort when it comes to playing with the angle and finding what works best and how far you are from the cutting kind of like alignment of the blade. And it might be because of the scalloping of the Lupo being a little bit deeper than this one. I have slightly more blade feel on this razor, which is surprising for me and probably for others that are trying it, because this is inspired and resembles the Merkur 34C, but it's a very different shaver. Way more efficient than the Merkur and with more blade feel. Yeah, for the most part, very similar results. A couple of spots are better with the gold, a couple of spots are better with the Lupo, but overall, the first pass is equal. Okay, starting the second pass with the Lupo first. Yeah, I certainly can feel that scalloping on the base plate of the Lupo, that it's a little bit more pronounced as you glide the razor. Excellent access under the nose for the same reason that you know exactly with that base plate design where the cutting part is. So you don't have that 1 millimeter of guessing, I guess. Second pass with the gold. For the second pass, as there is that extra blade feel, surprisingly, I feel that the gold is not as smooth compared to the Lupo. This is something that when I have a full shave with the gold, I felt that it might be the smoothest razor that RazoRock offers, but that might be a false feeling based on the fact that this scalloping here is not as deep as the Lupo. So that's a very interesting difference here. Let's check the third and final pass, starting once again with the Lupo. Very, very comfortable for detailing. And third and final pass against the grain with the gold. So it's interesting with that blade feel. It's like I feel less scalloping on the base plate, but more kind of like resistance when it's cutting, and that's where the smoothness um, difference comes from for me. And of course, that might be the blade that plays a factor here, and that's very small difference as well. Some people I know they're sensitive when it comes to materials, so they may find the Lupo's deeper scalloping in terms of feeling to bring a feeling of kind of like unpleasant or maybe more of a resistance when you glide the material over your skin. So it's very subjective. But for me, for this shave with this blade, that stands out. And here there is less smoothness. Very obvious on the against the grain pass. And around the goatee, I'll finish with my Lupo here. The detailing king is very clear. Yeah, and it's smoother. I rinse the face, and before we check the alum, everywhere we're BBS, and the only spot where the Lupo did better job, and that might be due to my technique and how how much buffing I did on my problematic spot, is that on this side both are problematic spots. On this side there is just a little bit more left from the gold side compared to the Lupo where we are smooth. But that might be my technique. Yeah, pretty much I would say that equal efficiency, backing up the RazoRock chart. Yeah, they're in the same category when it comes to efficiency. And now, my friend, the alum block over here. Some cold water. And a little bit of tingling. So over here I have a little bit more tingling from the gold side compared to the Lupo. And under the jawline over here I have a little bit more tingling on the Lupo side compared to the gold. And tiny tingling around both sides. So pretty even on both sides. It's probably due to my technique and how much buffing I did. Time for the matching splash. Oops. Summertime. Very, very nice scent. So good, so fresh. Good stuff. Excellent finish to the shave. Yeah, the BBS is there. Aside from that little spot here. Just rinsed the razors for the summary. Okay, they are in the same category, efficiency-wise. equal result, equal performance. When it comes to the user friendliness, I have to say that probably the goat will be slightly more appropriate for beginners, because it just took me personally few more shaves to get used to the Lupo. If you watch my first video, you all know what I mean. When it comes to the scalloping, as you can see, the Lupo is with more pronounced, deeper scalloping on the base bar compared to the goat over here. So that's an obvious sensation when you glide the razor on your face. And when it comes to the blade feel, the goat is with more blade feel. When it comes to that detailing advantage, this is the king in my collection. I love that. I hope that more razors will do this type of designs where the bar is pretty much perfectly aligned with the cutting edge of the blade. That's something that I really like. And of course, if you don't have facial hair, this doesn't matter for you, but I like to bring it up because it matters for me. Both are excellent razors. More blade feel here, that contributes to the feeling that with this blade today for this shave, this one was less smooth, especially on the against the grain. With the grain first pass, things were pretty even. Cross the grain and against the grain, quite noticeable smoothness advantage for the Lupo over here. That pretty much covers all the similarities and differences that I discovered. If I have to pick one razor, and of course the price, I'll exclude it when it comes to the decision making. This is 23, 24 US dollars more expensive than the Lupo. If that matters to you, that's a clear winner. But if you have to pick one, and I'm surprised because in some comments I mentioned that if I have to pick the best razor from my RazoRock collection, I was pointing to the goat, probably because when you have a shave with a specific razor and you don't compare it side by side, you may have kind of like some honeymoon impressions and maybe just kind of like too positive of initial feeling when you try the razor. But having the head-to-head comparison, and especially because of the design here, I have a goatee, so this is quite important for me. If I have to pick to keep only one of these razors, I would go with the Lupo. And another thing that it's important probably for some of you is that the RazoRock Goat is having either the standard plate or the plus plate, which is more efficient, probably with more blade feel as well. I haven't tried it myself yet. But when it comes to the Lupo, you have variety of gaps. Over here I have the 0.72, which is close to the efficiency of this one, but there is bigger gaps over 1 millimeter as well, also smaller gaps. I think it was 0.5 something. They have the open comb variation, probably I think the jaws, which is the big open comb variation. So a lot of options for the Lupo, and all of them are going to be cheaper if you buy full razor, top cap, base plate, and a handle of your choice in comparison to the goat. So that's also one important thing that's worth mentioning. Let me know in the comments if you have both of these, which one do you prefer, or if you consider to get one of these, which one do you lean towards to? Both are great choices. Of course, depending on our preference and feeling, your mileage may vary, as we all know, but I hope that this video is helpful. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take care.